and gentlemen, this is Ballet Rain. You guys, your favorite series is back officially. Welcome back to another ultimate ballet costume showdown after honestly way too much time.
Way too much time. We did our last one in December and you guys have been nagging us non-stop about continuing this series. And so we're back today with our most highly requested edition of this series, which is KITRI from Don Quixote.
And honestly, rightly so, because
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh my gosh.
KITRI is one of the most distinct ballet characters to recognize.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of like character design and costume. You could literally pick the costume out of a crowd and be like, oh yeah, that's KITRI.
100%. She's definitely an icon, but surprisingly, between companies all around the world, there is actually quite a lot of variation in the way they portray KITRI and her costuming. And so today we have gathered 8 of them for you guys, and we're going to be comparing them against each other to see if we can find ourselves the ultimate KITRI Act 1 costume. So if you guys are excited for this video, then make sure you tap the like button, share it with a friend, and let's get into the costume showdown.
Before we officially start comparing costumes, in typical Ballet Rain costume showdown style, we're going to be establishing sort of our base criteria so we can sort of somewhat less subjectively,
But ultimately still subjectively.
judge all of our costumes according to these criteria. So KITRI and all of Don Quixote in general is set in roughly 1600s Spain.
Barcelona, to be exact.
Oh yeah, actually in the ballet it's Barcelona. But in
the
book it's La Mancha.
I think KITRI generally had the very iconic look. What can be expected from a KITRI Act 1 costume specifically is a lot of red
Yeah.
and black.
Red and black
generally.
are usually like KITRI's colors.
And she's also very popular, so
Yeah.
that really bold red and black color in her costume is pretty iconic, I
Yeah,
think.
something that carries her very striking, playful, popular village girl energy.
100%, yeah.
So something kind of more grounded, more towns-girly, generally with ruffles.
Lots of ruffles because she's sort of the popular girl, you know?
Yeah.
She's very flashy.
Yeah.
And so all the ruffles and all the embellishments. So with that out of the way, now that we have our base criteria, let's get into the costume showdown.
Let's do it! If you've watched any of our costume showdown videos before, you'll know that we have 8 beautiful costumes to compare today, and we're going to narrow them down in a series of rounds. We have the preliminary round where we'll narrow them down from 8 to 4. The semifinals, we'll narrow them down from 4 to 2, and then the final round, we will crown the ultimate champion.
No draws.
No
ties.
No draws allowed.
It's not Christmas.
We can't let that happen again.
No, not letting that happen again. Anyways, let's get going with round 1, our preliminary round. And our first 2 costumes that we're going to compare are from the Royal Ballet and the Mariinsky Ballet.
Oh.
In my humble opinion, these 2 are the most iconic KITRI costumes ever, like of all time. I just think they're so classic and so iconic. And honestly, this is the hardest way to start off the showdown.
Why did it have to be these
Why
two?
did it have to go together? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Why?
like, do we
Literally
have to
why?
pick one? Like, we could draw here, you guys.
Honestly, yes.
I will say, I'm not sure about the historical accuracy of these costumes. And if you, like, look up any photos of clothing of, like, the townspeople in Spain around the 1600s, they look nothing like this, you guys.
Nothing like this. It kind of is like, I don't want to say it's flamenco inspired, but it's kind of more towards that. But
Balletically, it's very true to, like, the classic
KITRI.
The 3 tiers of ruffles and the black bodice with the
white.
lacing.
And on a personal level, this is just a really hard decision to make.
Nostalgia may be speaking, but the Mariinsky Ballet version of
We
Don
grew up on
Quixote
that.
is the one that we grew up on.
Yeah, so that was nostalgic.
This is what I see when I think of KITRI right
Yeah.
here, Mariinsky Ballet.
But then again, the Royal Ballet is
It's like the Mariinsky one, but it's just like with a little extra detail.
a little bit more three-dimensional in my opinion, and I feel like it just gives it a little bit more of that realism.
Yeah, you can see like the
The lace is
pattern and like
pretty.
the lace.
It's just
on-
lace detailing, which I think is fabulous. It's really, really beautiful. I love the Royal Ballet's version of Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Carlos Acosta's version. Seriously, go and watch it. It's absolutely stellar. I honestly can't choose. These are 2 of my favorites.
Are you kidding me?
Part of me wants to say Royal Ballet, but nostalgia is calling me back to Mariinsky.
Yeah, why would you give us the hardest ones?
The team was savage, you guys.
How dare you? Okay, the only thing that's swaying me towards Royal Ballet is just the construction of the costume. I'm personally biased towards slightly heavier weight material
Yeah.
for KITRI.
I agree. I think it grounds the costume and grounds the character a little bit more.
Right.
No,
I appreciate the
of course,
tool.
of course.
It's just I feel like it has a bit more of a natural feel when you go for like an actual fabric skirt.
I think I agree because if you look at the Marinsky's KITRI versus any other character, like even Basilio, and I mean you can see the other dancers in the background, she kind of just stands out. Like it looks like this is a real scene, and then she's ballet.
Yeah, that's true.
She's ballerina,
Yeah.
but she doesn't quite integrate into the rest of the scene.
Yeah, maybe.
And, like the set,
Yeah.
but like that's so small because it's still iconic. And it still
so
has,
classic.
It's so classic. I don't know. I think I might choose Royal Ballet, but I just just this much.
Yeah, with all the pain in my heart that it takes to
Yeah.
say this, I'm actually gonna,
I'm gonna go Royal
I'm gonna
Ballet.
ignore the nostalgia.
Yeah, shoving it down, really suppressing the nostalgia. I think we're going to go with the Royal Ballet, obviously with a very pained heart.
I know, like these are the two that you should definitely not put in the same round with each other.
No, this is the terrible first round, but anyway. Hopefully this is the hardest of them.
Yeah, hopefully it'll get easier from here.
Let's keep going.
Okay, moving forward to our second comparison of the day. We have the gorgeous La Scala KITRI Act 1 costume and the absolutely stunning Australian Ballet KITRI Act 1 costume.
Wow.
Like, both of these are so gorgeous.
We have no black
Yeah.
with these two costumes, but we do have gold.
Gold.
And that's also very accurate and sort of like expected for KITRI
Yeah.
costumes.
It's definitely a little more upscale.
I think so.
It kind of sets her apart as like
Rich girl.
Oh, she's a rich
little
girl.
bit more so.
Yeah.
It's still great. It's still very KITRI. La Scala costuming is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the gold trim on like the skirt and on the sleeves and the bodice. I think it's really, really beautiful.
And again, like that really nice weighty material.
Yeah. However, the Australian Ballet is much more historically accurate.
Yeah, it's like way closer to like
Way more. We'll put up some photos here of like, 1600s, Spain era, that sort of setting. This one is a lot closer to that. So I think on the whole, Australian Ballet is definitely like, wow, yeah, that's definitely a distinction.
And I love that they were able to incorporate some of the more historically accurate tastes and elements, along with making it very distinctly KITRI, with the tiered ruffly skirt that we've all come to expect.
Oh, 100%.
When it comes to a KITRI costume. Oh.
But you can see like the white sleeve underneath the dress and then the square neck. It's very reminiscent of like these old photos and scenes that you can see here.
I think it's the bodice.
The bodice too, yeah. It's just like
Just
the way
the way-
it's structured, the way it's designed. It kind of brings you into that era.
Yeah, into
a
that.
little bit more so.
And it reminds you that it's not a modern ballet. It's set, a bit more historical.
I don't know. They're both gorgeous, honestly. It's just like, which one would you rather take? Would you rather take the more historically accurate one or like a more modern standard of a KITRI costume?
Yeah, because this is like more balletically accurate, more classic to the ballet.
Yeah, like what we normally see on
what you would
the stage.
expect from a KITRI costume. Whereas Australian ballet, it's like
Outside of the box.
but like it leaves an impression in a
it
good
does.
way.
It's memorable.
Should we go with like what's generally expected, or should we go with this?
Go against the grain.
Yeah, against the grain, because it's really beautifully done. It's so hard to choose. I don't think this is getting any easier, you guys.
No. I'm saying La Scala.
I was gonna say Australian.
But no, I'll give it to you.
I just love the way that they did it. I like that it looks like a real
It looks like a
dress.
dress.
It looks like a dress.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it to you. Let's do Australian.
Okay.
I'll do Australian for this round.
Yay! Australian ballet.
It's beautiful, actually.
Generally, both are stunning.
Yeah.
Both are stunning,
Yeah.
but we'll go Australian for this round.
Let's go. Next up, we have
Ooh.
We have American Ballet Theatre, or ABT, and National Ballet of Canada. These two...
Neither are conventional, honestly. I think ABT has a pretty iconic KITRI, just because I'll say unusual, but like I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Because she's not in red, obviously.
Yeah.
She's in like this coral,
It's like
orange,
peachy almost.
peach color.
Yeah. In the photo here, it looks orange, but like in real life, it's kind of like this peachy,
Almost like corally
pink color.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. It captures that sort of girly side of KITRI, which you don't see too often,
Yeah.
but we're here for it. It's beautiful. It's just not red. Not that that's enough to deter me.
Yeah, honestly, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
The ruffles and everything makes it still very distinctly the
Yeah.
KITRI silhouette, you know what I mean?
I
I
hate
like
it.
the fringe that she has around
Yeah, the
the...
fringe is really fun. And I like the amount of ruffle.
Yeah,
on the
like
skirt.
the
Like, it's
ruffle
really
factor is
ruffly.
like there.
It's real. As for National Ballet of Canada, this one is a completely different approach. Obviously, much more of a modern interpretation. It is a lot more sleeker silhouette. Halter neck, which is obviously a very contemporary sort of stylistic choice, which I don't hate per se.
Yeah.
I just feel like in contrast to the rest of the scene and the other characters, it's a little too contemporary for
Yeah.
my taste.
I would agree. But I will say I would have no problems with a slightly more modern set design for Don
yeah.
Quixote, but as long as it's all cohesive. It's just
That's
that
all.
if you look into the rest of the scene, like everyone else is in slightly more historical almost
A little bit more
costuming.
old-fashioned.
And then we have KITRI in a halter, which is a bit
Yeah, and
it's jarring to me.
It's like so simple, you know, and not embellished on the top hardly.
I like the skirt though.
No, the skirt is lovely.
I like the amount of lace in the pattern.
Yeah, it gives
like-
it texture.
Yeah, texture. But I do feel like the bodice, it leaves a little to be desired.
Yeah.
For my taste.
For my taste. I think if the whole scene was a lot more contemporary, then I would probably like it more.
Yeah.
So it's not really a bad costume, it's more just like the continuity of the scene. So I think we're gonna go with ABT for this round. I think
Yeah.
this one's iconic. We're gonna move ABT to the next round. Let's
do it.
go.
All right, moving on to our final comparison for the preliminary round of the Ballet Costume Showdown.
Let's go.
We have the Dutch National Ballet versus the Bolshoi Ballet. Both of these are actually very unconventional, I would say.
These are going more, forgive me, Capelio vibes for me.
Oh, I
In
see
terms
what
of-
you mean.
It's your typical townsgirl
Yeah, like peasant
vibe, like
girl.
peasant vibe, almost. Not that that's a bad thing. However, it's not what you typically expect from a KITRI costume.
Yeah,
you
like
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the ruffles are almost quintessential for a KITRI costume, and neither of these costumes actually have the ruffles.
But do I hate that?
No,
No.
honestly,
I really don't.
These costumes are still very distinctly KITRI, just maybe owing to the red.
Which one do you prefer though? I feel like these are so similar. They have the white puff sleeve like chemise underneath
Yeah.
the dress. A pretty simple bodice, although it's very pretty. And then the skirt, obviously a lot more of a solid
Yeah,
red.
substantial.
Very minimally embellished, kind of down to earth.
Yeah, a little
So
more down to earth. No ethereal elements, if you know what I mean.
It definitely gives you townsgirl vibes, which I'm not mad about.
Yeah, I honestly really like both of these. I'm erring on the side of Bolshoi.
I was gonna say the same, honestly.
I think, you know why? I'm biased because this has like some black trim and
Maybe
some black
that's what it
details.
is.
So then it kind of makes it more KITRI.
It makes it a little bit more KITRI, a little bit more grounded, I think.
I think like on a subconscious level.
Ultimately, I'm gonna say Bolshoi for my pick.
I'm gonna side Bolshoi too.
Okay.
I think it's subconsciously just because of the red and black.
It's just the tiniest bit of black,
Like-
which I think just brings it together for me.
Like my brain just latched onto it and went KITRI.
That's more KITRI. They're both lovely costumes.
Yeah.
Love them both. Anyway, I think that concludes our preliminary round. Sit tight, get a snack, stretch your legs for a second, and we will be back for the semifinals. Moving on to our semi-final round, you guys, and I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to have some difficult decisions to make in this one. So let's take a look at our first comparison.
Royal Ballet versus Bolshoi Ballet.
Ooh.
For me, this
Kind
one
of
is
easy.
This one's not hard, just because you guys, I'm loyal to the ruffles. I'm so sorry.
The ruffled and the red and the traditional KITRI sort of aesthetic
Yeah.
obviously goes to the Royal Ballet. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's not to say that the Bolshoi isn't a beautiful costume, because it honestly is
It truly
really
is.
stunning.
It really is. And I actually kind of love how she has like tan shoes and bare legs.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it grounds it even more.
Yeah, it
Very
looks so
realistic.
much like just a human girl
Yeah, exactly.
dancing in the town square without a care in the world.
Exactly.
You know, that type
so
of vibe.
I love the Bolshoi's costume as well, but I'm so sorry, you guys.
Loyal
We had to give it to the Royal Ballet for this one.
I'm loyal to the ruffles, everybody.
The ruffles, the
and
black,
like,
the
yeah,
lace.
the black lace.
It's just, it's everything KITRI for me.
Yeah. Okay, so this one was easier than I thought. Yeah, we're gonna go Royal Ballet.
We're gonna go Royal Ballet. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Who was surprised?
Yeah,
if you were surprised, let us know in the comments.
Obviously, according to our subjective tastes,
Subjective, 100% subjective,
Royal Ballet wins this one.
100%.
Ooh, second round of semifinals, and we are comparing. Oh, Both very unconventional, very beautiful KITRI costumes.
Yo.
American Ballet Theatre versus Australian Ballet.
This is so incredibly difficult because neither of these fit the traditional KITRI standard, but they both take it in such a beautiful direction when it comes to like this sort of scene and costuming. Australian Ballet, as we mentioned before, very historically accurate, which is wonderful in its own way. And then the ABT keeps the sort of same KITRI aesthetic, but instead of the traditional red and black, we have this really adorable peachy coral pink.
Oh, I love them both.
They're both beautiful. But which one do you take?
I almost can't compare them because they're so vastly different.
They're so different. You
So
really can't
equally
compare
beautiful.
them. Kind of stare at them from a distance.
Yeah, I know.
This is so impossibly hard. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking.
I love the amount of detail in each costume. The ABTs has like the extra bit of lace at the end of each ruffle. Not only do they have 4 gorgeous layers of ruffled, but they also have like a little extra lace on the end for extra ruffliness. She's a bit of a flirt. So there's
100%,
more ruffles, there's more stuff to flounce, right?
Australian Ballet, again, historical accuracy, you guys.
And they really didn't skimp. They were like, let's give her all the fabric.
Yeah.
Give her like just everything. Oh, they're both so cute.
Trying to like decide which aesthetic I like.
Okay, but here's my thing. My only thing that's kind of swaying me in a direction.
A direction.
Not
giving away hintsies yet.
I almost feel like the point of putting KITRI in red is so that she stands out so much from the rest of the crowd. Which in ABT, I do remember when I was younger watching it being like, wait, is that KITRI? I think it's just because KITRI has such a recognizable standard that everyone expects. But then again, I almost don't want to pick Australian Ballet because then it reinforces the stereotype that KITRI can only wear red.
And that's not the case.
That's not the case.
That's not the case at all.
I countered my own decision.
Well done. Well done on that one.
I'm almost citing Australian on this one.
Are you?
Yeah. I just like that it reminds you of the actual era of the ballet.
Yeah.
The story.
When I first saw the Australian Ballet costume back in the last round, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna get attached to it. But I kind of am for some reason. I don't know why. You know what? Let's just do it.
Okay.
We'll just go with Australian. We'll lock her in. For the final round.
Oh my god.
This one's gonna kill us, you guys. What have we done?
Okay,
no takesies, backsies.
No takesies, backsies.
We're gonna go with Australia.
It is time for the final round, the final showdown, where we will crown the ultimate champion. The stakes are high, you guys. Our final 2 contestants are the absolutely stunning Royal Ballet costume versus the Australian Ballet costume that we got unreasonably attached to.
And I think looking at it again, it's even harder. I don't know what it is. I just think it's different. It's unique. It's memorable. It kind of just catches your attention in a different sort of way. That's not traditional to like what you'd expect.
Yeah.
But it's just so much fun.
It's really a beautifully done costume. But then we have Royal Ballet, you guys. Which, again, is absolutely stunning with the rest of the set.
Both of them carry the character so beautifully.
Oh, no.
We're helpless.
Oh, no.
What to do?
Okay, just from my gut feel, like there's really no logic behind this. I'm going Royal Ballet. I don't know why. I'm trying to articulate though, because I feel like y'all will be unsatisfied. It'll be like, well, if you just picked it just because you liked it.
Yeah, it needs a reason, right?
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't have to have a
what
reason.
if it doesn't need to have a reason?
What if I just like it better?
Yeah, that's a good enough reason, right?
Is that a good enough reason?
Is that a reason? Thing is, I love the Royal Ballets because it has that lightness to it. Like they're both grounded, but it's not too heavy. I think it matches the choreography a little bit better.
Right, thinking of the ballet itself.
Thinking about the actual steps and the variation especially, I just feel like it has a little bit more of that bright, vibrant energy.
A little more lively.
A little bit more so.
Yeah, the Australian ballet it's almost has a bit more of a court dress feel, like almost a little more regal.
Yeah. Like it almost doesn't suit the variation. Or does it? Maybe it does. Maybe are we just conditioned to...
Are we conditioned?
So how much are we just swayed by like tradition?
But the tradition is also fun. Like,
I love the tradition.
Yeah. Not to say we can't ever step out of it, which is why we're struggling so much.
Obviously.
I don't know.
Sure we can't draw?
No, we can't. We already drew.
I know. I was just, it was a rhetorical question.
But I see what you mean now.
It's just, it has a little bit
I don't want to say less refinement, but like, it seems a bit more free. Yeah.
And I feel like the way the Royal Ballet turns, it kind of has like a little bit less floof.
And has more flair.
And a little bit more, more just flair. So it's a decision between floof and flair here.
Yeah, it's the floof versus flair. Just for her personality and for her choreography, you'd want to go Royal Ballet. Because Australian Ballet's almost giving more like nobility, more princess. Almost.
Slightly,
it's not.
like airing
it's not,
on
but
that.
it's like just that much more in the scale of Townsgirl or Princesses. Like
just
there.
a touch over.
Should we just go Royal Ballet? Should we just do it?
I want to.
I mean, you're thinking of the character, like the athleticness of KITRI and just sort of her almost rebellious kind of just
like Spitfire energy.
Yeah, Spitfire energy.
In which case, Royal Ballet for me personally, like just on a subjective taste, like personal taste level, I think Royal Ballet fits the bill better. If I'm listening to my heart,
I'm listening to my heart,
I have to say Royal Ballet.
After much agony and deliberation, you guys. If you look deep and listen to your heart, I think we have found ourselves the winner of today's KITRI Act 1 Ballet Costume Showdown. The winner, of course, goes to the Royal Ballet, you guys. Woo!
I think both costumes are wonderful. They're both incomparable in their own unique ways. Like they are like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
You can't compare the two. They're both fabulous in their own way.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like the character, her energy, her sort of personality, her character arc, the story, and everything in between, I feel like just by this much, we have to choose the Royal Ballet.
Yep, it really is the classic KITRI costume, but like with added details. You know what I mean?
It
So, like,
is.
the pattern on the bodice, the fringe in between all the ruffles here on the skirt. It's just like classic quintessential KITRI costume, but with added detail.
With added detail, and I think it's absolutely lovely. It's like KITRI in 3D. That's how it feels for me.
Yeah, if you see the costume in action, you like appreciate all the details without them stealing your attention.
Exactly.
Like they're not too obtrusive,
Yeah.
but they're there.
They're
and
there.
you just appreciate the fact that they're there.
Congratulations to our winner, the Royal Ballet. And if you guys, honestly, we're gonna say this again, consider this a PSA.
Yeah.
Please go watch the Royal Ballet's Don Quixote, specifically Carlos Acosta's version, because it is absolutely wonderful. Just go make sure you watch it.
Yeah, it will warm your heart, bring a smile to your face, clear your skin, water your crops, prolong your lifespan, everything, you guys.
It will do everything for you.
There you have it, you guys. That was the ultimate KITRI Act 1 Ballet Costume Showdown. Honestly, we love doing these videos with you guys. It's always so cool to look through each company's unique artistic vision for each of the costumes, and just to see how they can bring their own unique spin to it, and their own different elements that make each costume stand out in a very special way. Definitely let us know your favorite KITRI costume of the 8 that we got to see today.
Yes.
And let us know if you agreed or disagreed with our rankings in today's video.
Make sure you share this video with all of your Ballet Nerd friends, and if you want to see more costume showdowns that we've done in the past, they will all be linked above and below in a cute little playlist for you. And if you want to see more ballet costume showdowns in the future, please let us know your vote for which costumes and characters we should compare against each other next. We were thinking about doing Swinhilda next, maybe. We'll see. So if you're in favor of that vote, definitely let us know in the comments. Or if you have a different vote of your own entirely, let us know in the comments. And we'll be looking forward to doing another costume showdown very soon.
Shout out, of course, to all of our patrons who made today's video possible. And if you also would like to join them, the link will be in our description box, or you can visit patreon.com/balletrain.
And a very, very special thank you to our devoted patron, Nicholas.
Thank you so much for all of your support, and we are sending you all the best Ballet Nerd vibes. And anyways, I think that is all from us for now. This is Ballet Rain signing off until the next video.
Got a sip of water and some lotion. This lotion smells like blueberries.
Blueberry yogurt
Yeah,
specifically.
blueberry yogurt. It smells edible. It's actually dangerous.
It's like, you guys, like
It smells edible.
Like the scent is actually dangerous.